Hey guys, Ash Lane here today. Very special episode. We are going to recap the Kamcord War of the Ages, where YouTubers Th8 and myself took on Galadon and Clash on Gon in a Kamcord arranged war. As you can see, they beat us. Hashtag Team No Sleep. Shout out to that clan. They did a great job and they beat us decisively here, 129 to 120. Now, I actually brought you my own attacks, both of my attacks live, and I put those out a couple episodes ago. Just watch the Ash Raids live episode, and I'll show you my thought process behind those attacks and the execution as well when I attacked Galadon and Gon. But today I want to highlight some of the other great raids in this war, so I have about 9 raids selected today. This base here, very, very common, but you can see both of the air sweepers are facing north. That should be an invitation for an air attack coming in from the south, especially with this base design. And Th8, this is actually his attack. Very nice attack here. He opts to take out both of the air defenses. Now that is one option. Another option is taking out only one air defense, and then you have 3 rage spells to play with here. But he opts to use all his spells right off the bat, taking down both those air defenses because the other 2 air defenses are so far north that he doesn't have to deal with them. Now, obviously, it's going to be a somewhat slow-moving raid, as the dragons without haste or rage do move rather slowly, but dragons have taken over the game lately, and it's because of attacks like this. It will be really interesting to see if the game strategy moves away from dragons now with the Eagle Artillery and the new hero, or if the dragons still do play an important part of the game. With that extra spell slot, it's going to open up new opportunities for these mass dragon attackers. They're going to actually be able to add in an extra haste spell for critical moments in a raid such as this. So Nick was able to get almost 50% with the dragons, certainly get the town hall down. The air defense is so close to the north. The other 2 air defenses allowed that base to be a little bit vulnerable to an air attack such as that. So a smart attack by Nick. Now you're going to notice some of these names might be recognizable. Cybertron's from Red Elite, my clan, so I had a few of my clanmates in this war, and he was able to pull off the only Town Hall 10 3-star, I think, in the entire war, and it was this attack. It's kind of a healer-giant combination against this base with hogs on the back end. So these open layout bases like this are actually very susceptible to splitting your troops between giants and a queen. It's not really a queen walk because she's not really traveling outside the edges of the base, but she is going to be kept alive by those healers. Now, even though the healers have been nerfed very slightly, it sounds like the queen walks won't be touched, won't be dramatically impacted, because it's really when you start stacking 6 or 7 or 8 healers on one queen is when you're going to really see that dramatic decrease in effectiveness on the healers. So you can see here the giants do a great job distracting all these defensive units in the center of the base. That's the cool thing about giants, obviously, is there's so many of them and they have so much hit points that they're really able to bog down those defensive units, distracting them from the hogs. This is a well thought out, well planned attack. I know I was in a chat with Cybertron when he was going over the thought process behind this raid, and it was just really well planned out. He's one of our great attackers over in Red Elite, so shout out to him, and he actually got my vote for the MVP of this war. So we all had a vote, all of the YouTubers in this war, on who was our personal choice for MVP, and there was a few worthy candidates, but I gave my vote to Cybertron. So anyway, getting back to this raid, we'll go ahead and speed things up as there are a lot of raids to get to, but it was just a really smart and clever way to tackle this base design, which is really popular at Town Hall 10 in the game today. Now, we will be recapping Town Hall 9 and Town Hall 8 bases as well, so let's go ahead and move on to one of the Town Hall 9 bases. Now, I will be showing you my MVP bases of the war as well. I picked out one base at Town Hall 10, one at Town Hall 9, and one at Town Hall 8 that I thought were my personal favorites out of all the bases, all of 100 I took a quick look at. So I will be bringing you those at the end of today's video, so stay tuned for that. Now, this is Angels Really nice attack against another popular base design. I kind of watched almost all the replays of all the 3-star attacks, certainly, of the entire war, and I picked the ones that I thought that would be the most pertinent to and applicable to real-life scenarios, and I have seen this base quite a few times. Not sure the name of it, but either way, this is a very nice way to tackle the base with Gola Loon. Shattered variation, using 2 golems coming in from the east. Gonna take his time here. These Gola Loon attacks, at least in my experience, you can really take your time. People end up rushing these attacks more often than not. That could be the reason for failure down the road when you rush things, especially now that we're going to have 30 extra seconds to attack. That's going to be a real game changer on raids like this. Make sure you get that air defense, or possibly 2, as the case here, down before you deploy the air portion, the air phase of the attack. So here come the balloons from the north, and he holds off the rest of the balloons in that last Lava Hound into that second air defense. Really nice deployment of the Lava Hounds. I really like that. 2 into the first one, 1 into the second air defense that was remained up. Nice usage of that last haste spell there. Make sure those balloons that he held back make their way to the core. Then he's going to come in with his last 2 balloons and take out that Archer Tower and hopefully get that Tesla, excuse me. Inferno would be pretty amazing, though, if that popped up from the ground. But you can see here now there's plenty of balloons still left on the board. Well, 3 or 4. Plenty of pups, I should say, is still left on the board. Going to make for a nice cleanup and a nice raid by Angels. I will be swapping over to hashtag Team No Sleep and show some of their highlights in just a second. But there was a raid or two I did want to get to on hashtag 30% shields. So you can see another semi-popular base design, and the thing is, when you see a base like this, it should scream air attack rather than hog attack, mainly because there are some obvious possible double giant bomb locations in the center of this base. And obviously with an air attack, with a 2-phase Gola Loon attack, you're not going to have to worry about those detonating those giant bomb locations. Not to say that this base can't be hogged, it certainly can. But in my opinion, my preference would in fact be an air raid, as you'll see here. One of the main reasons, too, is because these air defenses are not max level. It's a Rush Town Hall 9 base, so that puts the advantage back on the air attacker. Now, one thing you have to be sure of is that your Lava Hounds, at least 2 of them, preferably all 3, do pop, and you really run into a big danger when tackling bases like this with the lower level air defenses, that your Hounds don't pop. You almost run a too effective raid, and what happens is you end up losing because of time, not because you wouldn't have otherwise won if the air defenses were max level. So you do have to be careful. So how do you be careful? How do you ensure that they actually die when you want them to? Well, it's all about deployment timing and in the engagement area with your first phase of the attack. Now, the first phase of this attack coming in from the southwest, as Edward did here, he's ensured only 1 air defense off the board, and then he very liberally deploys the second 2 hounds right into the thick of things. That's actually a good idea rather than a bad idea. You don't want to do that if they're max air defenses, but it's going to ensure the pups already start to spawn in the way of the Lava Hounds dying, obviously. I would have saved those last 4 or 5 balloons coming from the north. That's the only thing I would have changed in this attack. If he had came in with from the north, excuse me, with those last few balloons, maybe even 1 or 2 up over in the west, it would have been a little bit less close here at the end. You can see this Wizard Tower just barely goes down here. There's only 2 balloons left on the board, it looks like. But either way, it was still a nice attack. Like I said, a general tip, perfect execution up until the very, very end. Edward might, like I said, want to have added those balloons towards the very, very back end of the raid. I always hold on, like the first attack at Town Hall 9, to 2 or 3 balloons. It really helps out that way. So on this Town Hall 8 attack here, we're going to do a hog raid. And it starts out with a pretty traditional lure here by Brazil Argentina, the attacker. And he's going to go ahead and drop a archer as an anchor. And a lot of you might be asking, why even bother luring the troops all the way outside the base like that? A lot of people prefer to just drop the poison, but I actually like luring the troops all the way to the edge of the map, because then it allows a nice little area for the wizards to finish off the dragon, because obviously a level 1 poison spell, there's no way that's going to even come close to killing the dragon, so you don't want it interfering with the hog portion of the raid, and there are no golems in this raid, so it's going to be a straight up hog attack with some wizards for cleanup, obviously utilizing the king as well in a cleanup role, and a couple balloons, which is going to be a smart move to do as well. If you can see a base where you can take down the 3 air defenses very easily with the hog portion of your raid, oftentimes coming in with some balloons in the very, very back end can actually make a difference. Didn't end up being totally necessary in this raid, but it is a smart thing to add to the raid as a little expert tip, I guess I could say, depending. Maybe sometimes there's 1 cannon or 1 mortar left standing, and your cleanup crew can't get in there to get the 3-star. So you can see basically the hogs just swept through this base. Not an awful base design, but probably could have been a more effective one as well. I'm actually going to bring you, as I mentioned, my favorite Town Hall 8 base of this entire war. It was actually a base I really enjoyed in this war that I saw, so I will be bringing you that one as well. So even though the balloons weren't necessarily vital to this attack, they do help out quite a bit on the cleanup, and if the hogs had went down last second for whatever reason, the balloons would have been a real critical force in the cleanup and ensuring the 3rd star on that raid. So let's go to the flip side of this war and start out with an attack by Sarah. So I should give Sarah a shout out, as she did put this entire arranged war with 100 people together using Kamcord staff and crew, as well as some just fans and stuff, I guess, of the bigger YouTubers. So Sarah's going to do a traditional dragon attack here, taking out the air defense, probably using a lava hound in the clan castle, as that is really the really popular base, or excuse me, the popular army composition that's going on right now, especially in high-end Legends and Titan League, because it's such a safe strategy. Now, this is such an effective strategy against these anti-3-star bases, because you can easily access the town hall. So 2 rage spells, really speeding up those dragons. Maybe could have placed that second rage spell, excuse me, a little bit earlier, but either way, they're going to make it to the core without too much trouble there. That 1 air sweeper kind of being a little bit of a pain. Maybe a free spell could have been dropped on that air sweeper to get even more percentage, but either way, it's going to be enough, as she did hold back a couple of dragons to help with the percentage. Now, that's a smart move, because now we have 2 dragons in the south, 1 in the north, and it's really going to ensure that percentage gets ramped up on this attack. Rage spell kind of, went for the birds over there in the middle, but either way, it wasn't really needed, as she goes ahead and deploys the heroes. Wall breakers are probably going to end up triggering that clan castle, but it doesn't matter. It's a very nice 67% 2-star, so that could have come into play. Those high percentage 2-star attacks are obviously critical, not in this war, but in clan wars now, where those are the tiebreaker. It certainly comes into play more often than it did previously. The percentage actually means something now. So now it's Morph, another Red Elite member, co-leader. He's actually on a few of my episodes as well, so go ahead and check those out, including the Town Hall 9 guide. So he comes in with this hog attack. This is the first Town Hall 9 hog attack I've shared from this war. There were a few nice ones, and this is not a bad base design as well, and but Morph is just a real expert hog attacker. Some people just really see the battlefield well and are able to really pre-plan an attack really, really well. Morph is one of those guys. You can see comes in, like I said, from the southeast on this base. That's going to allow him to access the queen via that perfectly placed jump spell. Barbarian King's going to take down the queen using the Iron Fist ability, while the queen, the attacking queen, takes down the dragon in the clan castle. Once all that real estate is off the board, he's going to come in with the hogs, just surgically scattering them all throughout the base, starting at around 12 o'clock, moving counterclockwise to about, I don't know, 8 o'clock or so. Then he saves a few extras for the eastern half of the base. He's basically going to trace their movement and follow them with those first heal spells, and then by the time they get to the southern half of the base, the kill team has already basically taken out that entire portion of the base. So very nice attack here by Morph. He has a heck of a lot of troops left standing as well, and he held back a few wizards for cleanup duty. You can see some archers, some wizards, plenty of hogs on the board, as I said. Look at all those hogs still left alive at the end of the raid. Wow, that was really impressive there by Morph. Certainly one of the better attacks representing Elite Nation again. Now it's Mike's turn. He's going to use these 4 Earthquake spells in our first and one of the only max attacks we saw in this war. That's where we obviously are using the first phase of the attack and then coming in with either some balloons or hogs towards the end, towards the back end. I don't even know if you want to call this a max attack because I don't think, yeah, he doesn't even have a Lava Hound. So it's more basically a go wee wee attack with some back end balloons. However, there are 8 and he uses them pretty effectively. So anyway, we go into the first part of the base. You can see he was able to open up a large area on this base for the troops to work, and basically the entire western half of this base is now open via those Earthquake spells. So he's able to just drop that heal and then that rage to keep the Barbarian King soaking up a lot of that defensive attention along with the golems, and then allowing the witches and the wizards to eat up that rage and just start taking down the units. So he's going to start trickling in these balloons in just a second here. Balloons are going to be very important in these type of attacks. These are the type of strategies that you guys want to use when you're trying to transition from a 2-star attacker to a 3-star attacker. Start out by using an army that you're comfortable with, like these Go Wipe, Go Wee Wee armies, and then add some back-end balloons and hogs. Look at this. You wait until the archer towers or whatever the perimeter defenses may be, in this case archer towers and a couple wizard towers, are distracted by the golems in the middle of the raid, and then trickling in those hogs or the balloons in this case are actually going to really help because those defensive units along the perimeter are obviously distracted. So a very good job by Mike here of utilizing those balloons. And look at those balloons. I think there's only 2 left standing, and they're going to take out like 5 or 6 defensive units all on their own, maybe even more. This is really crazy. He gets a lot of bang for his buck off those balloons, and it just, I got to keep harkening back to this is how you become a 3-star attacker. Look at the queen. Is that insane or what? I mean, she has what, 10 hit points, if that? That is really absolutely crazy. I don't know if he would have gotten the 3-star had she went down either. She did get a few remaining units. Maybe he would have. I don't know. It was a close one. That was a nice raid. Really happy to bring you that one. That was one of those the cliffhangers at the end there. So let's go ahead and end with another Town Hall 8 attack, another lure. Man, luring is so important at Town Hall 8. I mean, you got to make sure you get those troops out of the clan castle, and you don't really want to use this composition in the clan castle either. Using just a bunch of wizards is not effective, as they'll go down to even a level 1 poison spell. They will die, even max wizards. So I guess at this point he's just making sure he's totally triggered the entire clan castle, and then it's going to be an epic swarm of hogs really making their way around the entire base, starting up in the northwest, making their way down to the southeast, and basically just going to follow the hogs with heal spells. It's as easy as that. I mean, Dark Clasher makes it look pretty easy here, but in all honesty, just trace the path that the hogs are going to be following. You have the 3 heal spells to use. Make sure you're rocking the 3 heals here. Don't go crazy and adding in rage spells or anything like that, and you'll have it. It's a pretty powerful attack at Town Hall 8. It's honestly my favorite attack, just straight up mass hogs at Town Hall 8. And, you know, if you want to get crazy, add a golem or 2, but to me, that kind of complicates things unnecessarily. The only time I'd advocate adding golems to hog raids at Town Hall 8 personally is if you're about to go Town Hall 9 pretty soon and you want to start getting the hang of using the golems as the first phase of the attack. That's when you can really start, you know, fine-tuning and honing in your skill. So that would be my recommendation. Now, at the end of this this recap, I did promise you guys that I'd bring you the 3 MVP bases, and boy, if this isn't tooting my own horn, I don't know what is, but I did want to share my own base. It did not get 2-starred, and I love this base. I actually brought it to you guys in a video recently. I changed one Inferno Tower to single target because I wasn't sure, I didn't think the other team would have any 3-star attackers. And I did include a Hound in the Clan Castle. This base is really tough to 2-star with a Hound in the Clan Castle and 1 single target Inferno Tower. It's not to say that it's impossible or anything, but it really holds up very well for me in Clan Wars. So check out my last Town Hall 10 war base design video where I highlighted it more in depth. This was my favorite defensive base for Town Hall 9 by Queen Bree. and she has a nice base here. I like the positioning of the queen. Unfortunately, I don't have the traps on these bases, so we're not going to spend a ton of time going over them, but I did think it would be a nice added touch to just give a shout out to 3 bases I really enjoyed. And this next one is Next Google CEO. Really love this Anti-3 Town Hall 8 base. Clan Castle, unlurable or very hard to lure unless you're going to dedicate 3 or 4 hogs, and just a very nice area of obvious double giant bomb location right in the middle there. Really like that base. You can kind of guess where the traps are. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this longer format war recap. Shout out to Sarah for putting this on, Galadon, Gone, Nick at Night. Good job, guys, and thanks for having me. Guys, thanks for watching. I want to hear what you thought of the war. Which was your favorite attack out of all these attacks? I want to hear it and see it below. Go ahead and comment, and thanks as always. Take care, guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. Just a few ways you can help the channel out. Number 1, like. Number 2, subscribe. And number 3, comment. Tell me what you think of the video. I really appreciate it, guys, and it really helps me out a lot. Also, you can find me on social media. I'm active every day on Twitter at @clash_with_ash, and on Bindle chat group #ClashWithAsh. And as always, you can find me on my website at www.clashwithash.com. Thanks, guys.